everybody, and welcome into Blue Jays Today, where you boys always have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Nicholas Playla.
And I'm your host, Adam Peddle. And today, guys, we're talking about how the Blue Jays are doing stuff that no other team is doing. We saw last night a remarkable comeback win from the Blue Jays. Just absolutely resiliency up and down that lineup. Barger was struggling, comes up with a big hit, and they win that game 9-8. But it kind of goes to show and proves how good the Blue Jays have been this season. So we got a bunch of stats we're going to look at and just talk about, man, is this proof that the Blue Jays are just one of the better teams in all of baseball?
It feels like magic, almost.
That's the thing.
You know?
And these stats are magical, guys, so stay tuned. We're going to get through all of it. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. Also, if you have it available, hit that hype button. It really helps and boost creators like us, small creators, and get seen by new audiences. Let's go look over at that magical game that happened last night.
We were at that game, by the way. We were in there, in the Rogers Center, in person, folks.
Shout out Jordan Keats.
Yeah, seriously, but like what electric vibes. That was such a back and forth affair, and it was like Twins put up, Blue Jays come back and tie that thing. Twins put up again. Blue Jays are right there. You know what I mean? Consistently battling back the entire game. And then you have that bottom of the eighth inning right there where, or no.
The bottom of the eighth, yeah, the 3 runs. That was absolutely phenomenal.
That was, yes.
It got lead off homer here by Ty France, getting it going. Actually, not lead off, excuse me, 1 out in the inning. Gets it going, absolutely bat flips. And then you got the runners on, ducks on the pond. Barger comes up with a 1-out double off the wall. Mind you, again, he was struggling all game, like I mentioned. And we in the audience were like, oh my God, like he was taking pitches down the middle. He was swinging at everything. Like it felt like he was in his dome. He locked in for that last at bat and really proved that, like, hey, I can come up in a big moment.
Yeah, exactly. And he needed that because, like you said, he was swinging at everything, and there was a couple bad strikeouts in there for certain. But this Blue Jays team, the capability to come back in ball games, that's been a defining feature for them. Literally something that they have built their season around. We know about the batting average. We know about the on base, but the ability to, when you're behind in a ball game, go on to win said ball game, they're doing that better than almost anybody. Here is all of the comeback wins in 2025. The LA Dodgers are leading all of MLB. They got 42 of them, but the Toronto Blue Jays are leading the American League and are right there behind them. 40 comeback wins. So that's 40 games right now that are in the win column that at one given moment, they were trailing in said ball game. And considering they have 78 wins to their name, more than half of their wins, they've been behind at some point.
You could easily say, oh, well, if they were just like they were last year in the bottom half of the league in comeback wins with 26, well, there you go. You're missing out on 14 wins right there. And we're not in the same position that
we're not in a playoff
right
spot.
now. We're not in a playoff
We didn't buy at the deadline. We're nowhere to be seen.
Nowhere to be seen. And the reason why the comebacks, I mean, this might be a little obvious, but they do better in the later innings here, everybody. Looking at the Blue Jays splits in innings 7 through 9, they have a 275 batting average with an on-base of 348, an OPS of 794. You're looking at a well above average baseball player right here that they all become when it's in the late innings right there. So the Blue Jays, when they really need to, they lock in. And I love that you brought up magical, because that's the kind of vibe that's going on with the Blue Jays right now, where when they know they're down, they all rally, they all lock in. I saw a stat too that we're one of the best teams in responding when we get scored on. We saw it in prime example there last night, and the Blue Jays showed that, they still got it in them, even though it's almost September.
Well, there's no real stat to this, but momentum's a real thing, right? We all know it. We know when we can sense momentum, we can feel momentum. We can't really quantify momentum, but we know when it's there. And yesterday, when the Minnesota Twins were taking the momentum, immediately afterwards, the Blue Jays said, no, we're not going to let that happen. We're going to take that right back, or we're going to stop you from continuing with this, right? Because you know how momentum, it will snowball. Once they get it, it's hard to stop the train from rolling. Blue Jays have done such a great job at limiting the momentum from other teams. And I think that's because, like you said, when they get up, we come right back. So it's like, you hit us, we hit you back, we hit you harder. That's what happened last night.
Yeah, and like obviously Eric Lauer started for the game last night, and he didn't have his best stuff. He gave up, I believe it was 6 earned runs, 2 of which were not. They were committing the errors. And the Blue Jays, that was on the offense right there too, committing errors in the field. But the Blue Jays, they had to go and they had to respond. And, they've been picking up a lot of the pitchers right now, because when I look over at overall stats for the Blue Jays this year, relief pitchers is kind of mid, 16th in ERA, 20th in starting pitching. pitching. The offense, I mean, hello. They have been really picking up the slack for the starting pitchers and the relievers when they are down. First in average, I feel like I broke a record saying this, first and on base, fifth in runs scored. That offense is kind of carrying the way, and that's kind of been the MO of the Blue Jays when they are really hot, like in the last 15 years, these Blue Jays teams, when they are really hot and they're playing well, it's usually the offense.
100%, right? I mean, we were thinking that for a while now that this Toronto Blue Jays squad, or at least in the years prior, in 2023 and those seasons, it was the pitching that was like the dominant facet of this ball team. And I think a lot of people walking into this season were looking at that offense and not thinking that offense was going to be the strong suit here. And that if anything was going to work, it was going to be the pitchers. And in fact, it is the complete opposite. Before we get to the next stat, I did just want to go back to that innings from 7 through 9, because I had this thought right here. There's been so many times where the Toronto Blue Jays have come back in the ball game, late in the ball game, because when it's close and it's late, they play very, very well. So they're behind and it's late in the game. Who are they up against?
The best pitcher.
The best relievers on the other team. And for whatever reason, they are still performing at their highest caliber.
Right.
That to me is just wildly impressive.
Absolutely. Look at a stat here, late and close when the game is needing to be decided. You've got a 795 OPS. So when it matters the most to come up, they do come up clutch right there. I mean, hey, that even goes to show right here. Here's another stat I just kind of sprinkled in right here. This is a couple days ago, so it's obviously changed, but the Blue Jays have the best record in games decided by 3 runs or less at 48 and 20. I think that's changed now. They're 49 and 29 because they had 2 back-to-back games that were very close. 1 win, 1 loss. But goes to show when it matters and it's tight, which you're going to have a lot of tight ball games in the postseason, they're very good at closing it out.
Which is really interesting because, you think about that bullpen, and we've been getting on that bullpen of the Toronto Blue Jays, which is true. The bullpen has not been playing very well for the Toronto Blue Jays, but the offense just continues to pick them up. They're picking up their starting pitchers. They're picking up their bullpen. When the Toronto Blue Jays offense puts up 5 or more runs, which they've done a lot of times this year, guys.
Yeah.
They've done that a lot. There's a good fifth in run scored, baby.
62 runs this year, or 62 times this year they've done that.
62 times they have done that. That's significantly more than last year, I can tell you that much. They are 58 and 4 when they put up 5 or more runs. Now, obviously, that seems like something that should be the case. Well, when you score a lot, you're going to win a lot. Totally. But 58 and 4?
No,
that is like
that's an anomaly.
That's a dramatic, polarizing stat right there, where it's like when we put up runs, you guys lose.
Yeah, it's funny. I was listening to the Rangers broadcast when they were in town, and they brought up this stat when it was a little bit smaller, because there was a few more games that we added to that win column. But they asked one of the commentators asked the color commentator, like, what do you think? What do you think their record is in 5+ runs when they score per game? And he guessed oh yeah, good team, 40 and 15. And he's like, oh, you think that would be really good and ridiculous, right? No, it's this number, and now it is 58 and 4. So Blue Jays, man, I guess the recipe for success is just score 5 runs and it's all good.
Score 5 runs and keep it within 3, because for whatever reason, when the game's tight, when the game matters, when it's all on the line, when you need the clutch, because the word clutch, right? What does the word clutch mean? Well, people in Blue Jays land have been screaming about how we're not clutch for many, many years right now, and especially last year, that was true. No one was clutch last year. But just the clutch factor of this squad, it's there, man. Because in tight ball games, late in games, we are clutch.
Runners in scoring position. That's all you need, right? 287 batting average, an OPS of 806. Point being, guys, we're throwing these stats at you right now. The point being is this Blue Jay team is not any other Blue Jay team. It's not like any other Blue Jay team I've ever seen in my tenure of being a Blue Jay fan. I'm 27, so maybe a lot of you guys out there might say, oh, it's kind of like the 93, the 92 teams, which there are a lot of comparable stats to those guys, honestly. Yeah. But in my lifetime, this is the best Blue Jay team I've ever seen, and my God, am I excited for October.
Well, it just feels like if they can keep this up, there's magic in the Rogers Center. Right? I keep using that word because it doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't add up when you let the other team score 8 runs against you and tag your starting pitcher for 6 earned, and you're making errors in the field. And they didn't listen. The defense did not deserve to win yesterday.
Good ball game
it wasn't
on the field.
The defense did not play well. The starting pitching did not play well, and for whatever reason, they still won. And the only adjective I can come up with is magic. But you guys let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about this Toronto Blue Jays squad right now? Does this offense have the makings of a World Series offense? If they play like yesterday, then maybe.
Absolutely, guys. Hit that like button, smash the subscribe button. Also, hit that hype button if you got it. $4 a month to become a YouTube member. Shout out and thank you to all of our current YouTube members. You guys are awesome.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And as always, go Jays, go!